So welcome back students. Today we will pick up on this another model known as the Cornut model. Cornut, he had developed his theory in the year 1838, and in his very theory of his he did give an explanation, or he tried to explain his model based on an example of two mineral springs owned by two firms, say A and B. And before he explained the model, he did take certain assumptions. And these assumptions are, yes, there are two independent sellers. They produce and sell a homogeneous product, that is mineral water. The number of buyers is large. Each seller knows the market demand curve for the product. The cost of production is assumed to be zero. And each seller is ignorant about his rival's plan, that is, about his output. Each seller takes the supply output of its rival as constant, and neither fixes the price for its product, but each accept the market demand price at which the product can be sold. Further, the entry of firms is blocked. And lastly, each seller aim at obtaining maximum profit. So based on these assumptions, here Cornut tried to explain his very theory, how these firms reach his equilibrium, or how these two firms are being able to obtain maximum profits. So based on this assumption, what has been uh, assumed by Cornut, he said that there are only two firms in the market. Okay, so these two firms, they are producing this a product, that is mineral spring. And if you look over there at the diagram, okay, what has been what can be seen is that we have the OX axis, which measuring output. We have the OY axis, which measuring the price. Further, we also have D1, which represents the market demand curve, as well as the MR1, which represents the marginal revenue curve. Further, what has been assumed here by Cornut is that the marginal cost of these two firms is assumed to be zero, and as such, the marginal cost curve, it did coincides with the OX axis. Okay, so what happened here at this particular moment, it has been assumed that firm A first started the business, that means in producing that good which is a mineral water. So at that very point of time when he's the only producer, that is when A is the only producer, what happened is that he did produce, uh, considering this D1 as his demand curve and MR1 and as his marginal revenue curve. Firm A is producing OA amount of output. Okay, and if you look at this point A, it is a point of equality between his MR and his MC. Okay, and so from this point of equality, that is from the point A where the two intersects each other, or when the two are equal, when MC equal MR, here we extend perpendiculars upwards towards the demand curve. And as such, this firm A, or this producer A, he's been producing OA output and sold it at the price of AS or OP, which means this producer, he's been selling this output OA at a price OP and enjoying a profit equivalent to ASPO. Further, as stated by Cornut, he said that it is at that point of time when producer B or firm B start to enter the market. Okay, and when firm B or this producer B start producing this particular item, that is mineral water, he assumed that A will not change his output. That means he will produce his same level of output, that is OA. And under such a situation, what happened was firm B did consider this SD1 as his demand curve and MR2 as his marginal revenue curve. Further, if you look at the situation of B, uh, producing this producer B, considering SD1 as his demand curve, SB as his marginal revenue curve, he's been producing A, B as output. Okay, why? Because if you look at point B, it is the point of intersection of the demand curve, of the marginal revenue curve of B's marginal revenue curve and his marginal cost curve. They do intersect at point B, which means it is at point B which gave the output which is being produced by producer B. That means the moment producer B entered the market, how much he produced? He produced AB as his output. And yes, again, from this point of equality, that means from point B, we extend a line upwards towards the demand curve, which means this producer B, he's been producing AB as output and charge BG as its price. And as such, on producing this much as output and charging this much as his price, what happened was he enjoyed a profits equivalent to ABGT.